This is the Angels Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Angels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game, right here on the Locked On Angels YouTube channel, and after the fact, both on the channel and wherever the heck you get the Locked On Angels audio podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, what's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist in the LA area, spent 4 years covering UCLA sports, writing articles, sitting in press conferences, traveling across the country for the Daily Bruin, and now in year 2, with the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Our team is the Angels, and I'm going to come out and say it. I'm convinced our team, the Angels, hates this postcast. I'm convinced. I will explain that further on today's show as the Angels fall 11-4 in the series opener in Minnesota against the Twins. Kyle Hendricks gets absolutely hammered, is what I said on the thumbnail, and hammered as in he got hammered, or hammered as in he looked hammered on the mound. An absolutely embarrassing performance from him. I'm sorry. I know he's a veteran. I know he's had a decent start to this season, I guess you could say. Even that's probably not true, but he was pretty horrific tonight. We'll talk about his start. Really, the whole Angels pitching staff, not good tonight. The lineup, okay, I guess. Maybe a C+, B- performance, but the Angels as a whole look pretty sluggish tonight. We'll talk about one reason that might be the case, and surprise, surprise, it's Arte Moreno's fault. But first and foremost, shout out to everybody in here. Seeing a lot of the familiars. I know it's a unique time, a Friday night, kind of a tough time to hop on the show, but shout out to everybody in here, whether it's Brendan, Angels Win, Jeff, Seth, Dave T, and others. Appreciate all you guys being in here as always. Got some exciting news I'm going to talk about in the second segment in terms of potential meet and greet coming up at a Angels game in the not too distant future. So really excited about that. We'll talk about that later on today's show, but first and foremost, we have to talk about this darn game, the 11-4 loss to the Angels, and let's jump right into this one.
This is what you'll be talking about.
We have to talk about Kyle Hendricks. I mean, just a really bad start for him. And obviously, we're going to get, as you can see, into the plane timing discussion very shortly, because you can make an argument that what happened with the Angels and the late start on the game yesterday and the late flight tonight, getting in at 4 a.m. in Minnesota, you know, you can make the argument that that greatly contributed to this, and we're going to get to that shortly. But the main talking point tonight has to be how bad Kyle Hendricks was, because the same way 2 nights ago, I was absolutely livid, not only because the Angels were held to 2 hits, but because of how bad they started the game with 6 strikeouts to start the first 2 innings. I think 5 of them on fastballs down the middle. You can't start a game any worse than that. I'm sorry, Kyle Hendricks, outside of giving up multiple runs in the first inning, you can't really start a game or a start worse than Kyle Hendricks did, when you managed to give up a run in the bottom of the first inning despite not giving up a hit. That's pretty freaking bad. Kyle Hendricks starts the game with the leadoff walk, strikes out Byron Buxton, hits Keith Shaw with a pitch, and then walks Trevor Larnach to load the bases for Carlos Correa, who gets a sac fly to score a run. And just like that, it's 1-0 before the Twins have even gotten a hit. And unfortunately, this was just the beginning of a start where Kyle Hendricks had no control. He hits 2 guys, walks another 5, just giving giving the Twins free base runners all night tonight. That's pretty ridiculous. 5 walks, 2 hit by pitches, and he gives up 7 earned runs in 3 innings, despite only giving up 3 hits. 3 hits in 3 innings, you're thinking, wow, it's a great start. Nope, 7 earned runs. He gives up home runs. He gives up hit by pitches. He gives up walks. He does give up an RBI double. You know, just, I don't know what was worse, that first inning from him or the bottom of the 3rd or the bottom of the 4th. In the bottom of the 2nd, he does go 1-2-3, yippee-ki-yay. It doesn't really matter, because in the bottom of the 3rd, gives up the Byron Buxton solo shot on a deep fly ball to left field that was absolutely hammered. 108.8 exit velo, 419 feet. He hangs a curveball, and boy, oh boy, Byron Buxton does not miss that. The question is, okay, how's he going to respond? How about hitting the next batter and then giving up a double to the next hitter? So just like that, it's now 3-1. You've hit 2 guys already. You've given up a home run and a double in just 2.5 innings. And fortunately, Taylor Ward does the unthinkable and makes a good play in the outfield. Couldn't believe that, to get Correa out, and then Jeffers pops out, and you're thinking, okay, it's only 3-1. At least the Angels put up a run. Maybe there's some life there. Thank you, Joe Adell, for the RBI single in the second. But unfortunately, the bottom of the fourth goes even worse for Kyle Hendricks, because he starts it with walk, single, walk, walk. He walks in a run, which, I'm sorry, should never happen in the majors. It should never happen. And it wasn't even close. He walks them on 5 pitches, all 4, not even really that close to the zone. So just no control for Hendricks, which is unacceptable for a guy who's not throwing that hard, for a guy who's not new to this league. He's a veteran who doesn't throw hard. You need to have control, period. No exceptions. And he did not. So he gives up a run via the walk. It's 4-1. Thank God he gets taken out. Carl Edwards comes in, and boy, he didn't help. He gives up a sac fly. Then he gives up an RBI single. An RBI single. And then the biggest bomb of them all, Mr. Trevor goes 110.6 off the bat, 409 feet, 3-run shot off of Edwards. And that was all she wrote. 9-1 ball game at that point. It was over. It was over. And like Dave is in here saying, he said they weren't swinging at Hendricks balls just off the plate. That was the problem. Yes, the Twins deserve some credit, but at the same time, you have to change your approach. If it's 2-1, you can't throw a pitch, a couple inches off the plate. If it's 3-1, you certainly can't throw a pitch a couple inches off the plate. That's the problem. And at this point, when you're down 3-1, 4-1, you've already gifted runs via the hit by pitch, via the walk, right? You need to change your approach. You got to throw pitches in the zone and see what happens. He did not do that. 5 walks is unacceptable. 2 hit by pitches is unacceptable. Walking in a run is ridiculous. Giving up a run in the first inning without giving up a hit is ridiculous, especially from a veteran. So disappointing from Hendricks. Mixed feelings, to be honest, in terms of how he's been this season. Obviously, he now falls to 0-3 with an ERA of 4.5, or excuse me, an ERA of 6.65. It was 4.5 coming into the night. The previous start, in 5 innings, he gave up 3 earned runs to the Giants. The start before that against the Astros, 4 innings, 5 earned runs. He really only had one good start, the outing before that in Tampa Bay, where he did not give up a run in 5 innings. But he now has, how many walks is that? He now has 12 walks through his first 5 starts. He's now hit 2 batters as well. And in 20 innings, he's given up. That's not good, guys. See, that is not good at all. Excuse me. In 23 innings, he's now given up. He has an ERA of 6.65, and he's given up all those walks, all those hit by pitches. He's not a strikeout guy. Dave in here saying, but you can't throw it right down the middle. If you do that and they hit it, you're going to complain about that. I mean, I don't know if that's fair to say, because again, you have to adjust. The same way, if Soriano's sinker is not working, you want to see him, adjust and throw some off-speed pitches and see what happens. If Hendricks is not getting guys to swing on pitches outside, he's already walked 5 guys and hit 2 batters. You got to throw pitches in the zone. You're already down 4-1. You're already down. There's nothing to lose at that point. If you throw pitches down the middle and get hit, okay. But you got to adjust. The same way the Angels' offense. Like I said, if the Angels were losing games because their offense was hitting a bunch of ground balls and getting out, if they're, hitting Andrew Heaney's fastball and they were missing it or something, or they were hitting weak contact, that's one thing. But we're infuriated with the lineup because they've been striking out every game and only hitting home runs to score runs. The same way I'm going to be infuriated if a starter who's walking guys and hitting batters the first couple of innings doesn't adjust and continues to walk batters to the point where he loads the bases and walks in a run. That is a lack of adjustment, which again is a coaching, managerial issue and an adjustment issue for players. Both are happening hand in hand, that this team can never seem to adjust to the mistakes they're making earlier in the game or earlier in the series or earlier in the season. You can't keep making the same mistakes over and over, and that is what is so frustrating. The other thing I'm going to talk about before the break is this whole plane timing thing, because for those who don't know, obviously some discussions about the late start to the game yesterday, despite the Angels having to travel to Minnesota for an instant road trip after that. The problem being with the late start, the Angels landed at, I believe, 3 in the morning, 3:30, something like that. Saw some different times on Twitter, but you're landing in the middle of the night. Then you have to play a game, that same day that you landed. And certainly it's not an exaggeration to say that this entire team came out a bit sluggish, right? Obviously, Kyle Hendricks, not good on the mound, but the lineup, right? You score a run in the second inning, sure, but still felt like a sluggish outing from the lineup as well. And you have to blame Arte Moreno. I'm sorry. He's the one who adjusted the timing. He's the one who got cheap. Exactly. Chris in here saying Arte tried to squeeze more money. It's ridiculous. You're willing to pay hundreds and hundreds of millions on Anthony Rendon. But when it comes to, flight schedules and timing and stuff like that, nope, that's where we get cheap. So frustrating. You could certainly say that contributed to the loss. Dave saying, according to Matt Vasgersian, it was a 4:30 a.m. landing. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You land at 4:30, not to mention the time change. Your body's all thrown off. And so I can't really fault the players for coming out and, falling behind early in this game, falling behind 9-1 midway through the ball game. So Dave is absolutely right saying ownership did not put them in a good position. It's I don't know. Angel in here saying they shouldn't be tired. It's only April. Yes, but you're still human beings. And if you're landing at 4:30 in the morning, you're certainly this is a battle of two teams where it's a major leagues. Both teams are going to be tired, sure, but it's the finest of margins in professional sports, the finest of margins, right? Especially baseball. We're talking about an inch being the difference between a pop-up and a deep home run, right? That's the difference. Inches. So when inches is a difference between a pop-up and a home run in baseball, certainly sleep versus lackluster sleep, optimal sleep versus suboptimal sleep is going to contribute. Is that the reason they lost tonight? No. But it is something to talk about? Yes. Right? So I disagree with Angels win saying it's excuses. They're professionals. They travel well. Again, this is not saying, should we say, woe is, pity? Should we be feeling super sorry for the Angels players and saying, oh, they have it so rough? No. Right? It's like when LeBron or any NBA player complains about the travel and the back-to-back nights. Again, everything needs to have nuance. Yes. Is it ridiculous to say, they have it rough, NBA players or MLB players or anything, that they get paid $40 million but have to play back-to-back nights, basketball games? No, we're not saying that their life is so hard when we've got people working 50-hour work weeks, making minimum wage with inflation and struggling to put food on the table and pay for rent, right? So I'm not going to say, oh man, I feel so sorry for the professional athlete making $40 million a year to play back-to-back nights in their sport. I'm not saying that, but I am also not saying that sleeping on a flight when you're playing against a team who's not sleeping on a flight is not going to affect the result of the game. That is also a ridiculous statement to say, right? It is somewhere in the middle. I'm not feeling bad for the players in terms of their life is still a whole lot better than everyone else's and they should not complain, but you can say that it contributed to the loss to some degree. If the Angels got the right sleep, do they win this game? Probably not. They lost 11-4. Kyle Hendricks pitched awfully. But is it a 6-4 game? Maybe. Is it a 6-5 game? Is it a coin flip game that you lose? But certainly, I think there's an argument that that's the case. And so either way, the owner's job is to put his players in the best situation to win. And if they lose, that's on them. But he did not do that. And so he deserves some criticism, right? I'm sorry, he does. After this break here, we're going to talk about the offense at least. There was a few bright spots, Mike Trout being the main one. So we'll talk about that. And we're going to get to the only good news of this show today, which is the potential meet and greet coming up for the postcast. So going to talk about that. Also, I have to quickly say why the heck I'm saying this team hates the postcast. We're going to get to that. We're going to talk about the meet and greet, and we'll wrap it up on this Friday night. So I'll be right back on today's losing edition of the Locked On Angels postcast. I'll be right back. Now, today's show is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. That's pretty incredible. I'll be honest. That's pretty darn cool. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25, which, by the way, I waste hours on, to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed, as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. It's got the latest technology for elevated playing with Wi-Fi 6, 6E, and auto low latency mode advanced technology. The Fire TV Stick 4K delivers smoother, more responsive gameplay with lightning fast speeds you need to stay competitive. With 4K streaming, you can also watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and more. And it's affordable and portable gaming. You can play high-quality Xbox games at a fraction of the cost of a console. And if you already have a console, the device still is a more affordable and easier way to travel, with allowing you to take your games wherever you plug in. So head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. It's pretty cool. I'll be honest. It's pretty cool. Back here live on another losing edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Angels fall 11-4. And I say another because I'm just going to come out and say it. This team hates the darn postcast. The only 2 times I haven't had a show, we've had 2 great Angels wins. If you don't remember, I started with doing the first 20 games, 20 for 20 without missing a show, which is I'm pretty proud of. Not to mention there's been some during the day where I've had to do shows at work. There's been some at nights and all this stuff, right? During work and everything like that as well. But on Sunday was Easter, wasn't able to do the show. Oh, the Angels just have, arguably their most exciting win of the year. That crazy comeback, Joe Adell walk-off against the Giants on a Sunday, matinee game at the Big A, sold-out crowd against a good Giants team, and they have probably the most exciting win of the year. Oh, yeah, the only other time I didn't do a show, it was last night, of course, was Game 3 of the Clippers-Nuggets series. I was at Intuit Dome, repping the shirt, Kawhi, my Clippers. Well, they're looking nice. They're looking nice. But the Angels, they looked pretty nice last night. I get to talk about the horrific showing on Wednesday night, but then last night, it was amazing, right? So, or not amazing, but still pretty epic. Zach Neto coming through, helping the Angels pick up the win. So I'm convinced the Angels hate the postcast. They never like having, good games when I get to talk about it. Only bad games when I'm doing my show. But that's that. The only positive of tonight's show, or tonight's game, really, was Mike Trout, of all people. He does go 2 for 5 in this one with the home run. It seems like Mike Trout only has a good game when he hits a home run, but I'm not going to complain. We know how bad he's been this season. We know how important it is that he's not bad. So not only does he have the RBI single in the top of the 5th inning, I mean, at that point it was 9-1, but he does have an RBI single to make it 9-2. We have a Hoppy home run in the top of the 6th. That's nice because he's certainly been struggling as well. No doubt about that. And then in the top of the 7th, Mike Trout hits a deep fly to center field, 380 feet, not the deepest home run, but pretty encouraging that it's a fastball. We know he's struggled to keep up with those sometimes. He takes a fastball inside and he rips it for a home run. So that's really the only positive. If there's a player of the game for the Angels, it's certainly him. 2 for 5 with the 2 RBIs, the solo shot, and the RBI single. Still manages to have 2 strikeouts, even as the player of the game. But I don't know how I'm feeling about this Jorge Soler leadoff thing. He's not really thriving there. Taylor Ward goes 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts in the cleanup spot. But Ohapi, like maybe Ant says in here, back-to-back games with a dinger for Ohapi is a good sign. Yeah, we'll see. We're trying to figure it out. 4 runs isn't terrible. You have 10 hits. You got to give him credit for that. 10 strikeouts is still bad, but it's not as bad as the Angels normally are. You do at least generate 2 walks as well. 10 hits. You had more hits and you lose the ball game. That's annoying. But okay performance from the lineup. Obviously looking for more tomorrow. That's that on that. But with all that being said, we're going to end on a good note here, which is the potential meet and greet. And I'm glad to see a couple people in here excited about that. Giga Chad said, had to make this a coping session. That's hilarious. Angel Antonius in here saying he's excited about the meet and greet. So yes, we're going to get to the details. We're looking at 2 dates. And I know it's kind of short notice, especially on one of them. It's looking like either, and of course there's going to be more opportunities to have a meet and greet at an Angels game, but I'm just letting you know there is I'd say above 50% chance I'll be going to the game next Thursday at the Big A. I believe it is the Ben Joyce bobblehead giveaway. For those who don't know, I have a couple friends with the Clippers that are Angels fans that live in Orange County. And so we've been trying to get a game together where I could, go to the game and then potentially crash at their place. It's kind of hard to make a drive back from Orange County all the way to West LA, after a 10, game ends at 10 p.m. Right. So, not Thursday, Friday, May 2nd, against the Detroit Tigers, 6:38 first pitch, Ben Joyce bobblehead giveaway night. It's looking like there's a 66% chance that I will be going to that game. And so if anybody is able to make it to that game, I'm not saying go out and buy tickets just because I'm going. But if you're already thinking about it, obviously the Ben Joyce bobblehead is sick. So if you're already thinking about going because it's a Friday night, because there's a Ben Joyce bobblehead, let me know. I'll let you know where I'll be sitting. I don't know yet. But once I do get tickets and confirm that I am going, I will certainly let you guys know as soon as that happens. And we will be able to meet whoever's there and make it happen. The other night is the following Friday night, May 9th, against the Orioles. That's going to be a heck of a game. Again, a 6:38 first pitch on a Friday night, and another giveaway night. This one, the quilted quarter zip. So I'm not going for the giveaway. I'm not, that's not the only reason I'm going. It's more so trying to fit this in with the Clippers postseason run that they're on right now. Game 6, if there is one of this series, would be next Thursday, May 1st, which means there's a chance that might be the last ever home game in Intuit Dome this year, or they'll advance, whatever. Either way, that's why the following day, Friday night, is a possibility, but also the following Friday is a possibility as well. So, of course, I will keep you posted. Tomorrow's show, the following day's show, I'll keep you posted on every show in terms of what it's looking like, whether it's going to be Friday the 2nd, Friday the 9th, or both. It might be both. And so if you're thinking about going to either games, don't go buy your tickets or anything right now. I will let you know if it's happening. But if it is, would love to see anybody who's at either of those games. But with all that being said, we're going to wrap this one up. Angels fall 11-4, pretty frustrating. Kyle Hendricks, pretty horrific. Didn't even really talk about the bullpen. Obviously, Carl Edwards Jr. did not have the greatest appearance ever. 2 innings, gives up 2 earned runs on 3 hits. Did have kind of a cheap hit that they scored a run on. And then Medeiros, he gives up 2 hits, 2 earned runs as well. Another 3 walks, which is not good. But with all that being said, we're going to wrap this one up. Angels fall 11-4. Maybe they can, break this postcast jinx and have a win tomorrow. Don't forget, it's an early first pitch tomorrow. I believe it's 11:10, something like that, which of course is pretty awful timing. Clippers play at 3. I have to get there at like 2. So I don't know how the heck it's going to work. It might be another one of those crazy ones at the arena, but there should be a postcast tomorrow. I give it an 80% chance. The real question is if the Angels will win the freaking game. It'll be Kikuchi on the mound against Woods Richardson for the Twins. I'm liking us having a better advantage there. Would love to see Kikuchi get his first win as an Angel. But with all that being said, we're going to wrap this one up. So long. Go Angels, will be okay. Go Clippers tomorrow for anyone who supports as well. And please, oh please, can we turn it around, Angels, tomorrow? We're going to wrap it up. Take care, everybody. Maybe Ant saying El Clasico might steal airtime. Hey, I respect it. I'm a soccer fan myself, so certainly wouldn't be blaming you if that was the case. But shout out to everybody. Have a great Friday night. I'll see you tomorrow morning, hopefully after an Angels win and hopefully before a Clippers win. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.